push a P. Cop new hammers for my P. We don't want no peace. Got a spot across the spot. Just for peace.
What is going on, everyone? And welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneur Show. My name is Eric.
I'm Sierra.
And we are here to hang out. So, Uncensored Entrepreneur Show for couples. What is it? Basically, it's a show where we talk about real shit, challenges, the shit that people don't like talking about, the shit that makes people want to throw up. Apparently, we say shit a lot in this show. And just the uncomfortable things. I mean, with being an entrepreneur and in a relationship, you know, there's high stress, high tensions. You know, we're not taking the glory out of being an entrepreneur because obviously I choose to be an entrepreneur and I would choose nothing less or nothing other than that. And if you're an entrepreneur, which likely you are, if you're in our audience, then you can relate to that. And you know, we have some people in our audience that aren't an entrepreneur, meaning, you know, they don't own their own business. They work for somebody. And the things in this show are applicable to them as well. And, you know, if you're not married or you aspire to be married, or maybe you're married and you're thinking about starting a business, or you got a small side hustle, or whatever the case is, you know, we appeal, or rather have things that are relatable to a much broader audience than just married business owners. And, you know, the reason why is because essentially it's all communication. It's all mindset. It's all self-development. It's all motivation. You know, it's things that all help you, you know, even if you're an employee of somebody, you know, be the best fucking employee that you can be to constantly keep climbing ladders and you know, moving on up in the company and maybe one day starting your own. So, that's what we talk about. Why do we talk about it? Well, there's been plenty of times where Sierra and I want to
Box each other.
There you go. I was going to say kill ourselves, but I was thinking, you know, eventually we're going to have a big enough audience where there's going to be somebody there that's like,
I can't believe we said that.
yeah, somebody call somebody. Anyway.
We don't know our address.
Yeah, fuckers. Anyway.
We also have kids, so stuff.
Oh, now you're giving them too much
Kid stuff
information
is
about us.
relatable also.
Now they can find us. Yeah, so, you know, we've had a lot of struggles in our marriage, and our business has almost cost us our marriage, and our marriage has almost cost, you know, us our business. And, you know, our credentials are we've learned the hard way. We've learned what not to do. You know, that's typically where you find your lessons is through failure. You know, failing isn't necessarily a bad thing. You learn from your failures. The bad one is when you quit. Big difference between quitters and failures. You know, if you fail, you know, which we have numerous times in business and in marriage, and probably continue to do so every day, you know, we learn from these lessons. And, you know, we have learned some harsh lessons and you know, of definitely what not to do. So that's where our credentials are. You know, they're not from like a Harvard piece of paper or any of that bullshit. You know, they're from real life experience. So if you vibe with it, fucking cool. If you don't, you know.
GTFO.
I don't care. Yeah. No, but for real, there's something in here for everyone.
Yeah,
So
we cover a lot of stuff.
I got this wicked. You can't see unless you're on YouTube or Spotify looking at the thing, but I got this like wicked tan line that I can see on the camera. Do you see it? My face is so I'm red a lot, but I got some of the silver fox cut off on my hair finally, so there's like a tan line from where my hair was. Anyway, so that's why we do it. And, you know, also, we want to hear from you guys. So if you have any topics or anything that you want us to discuss, or you want our advice or opinion on, or, you know, whatever, you have some challenges that you're currently dealing with, and you know, you'd like some insight on that, or like if we've dealt with it, or whatever the case is. So you can always email those to us. Best way to get our attention and get those questions over is you can email us at questions@uncensoredpodcast.com. And, you know, we'll check them out. And, you know, if your topics don't suck, then we'll talk about them. And, yeah, other than that, you know, we don't promote the show. I throw a story here and there on Instagram or whatever, on the gram, and, you know, stuff like that. So if you are getting some valuable content out of here, or something that you relate to, and then you have that friend or family or person in your life that you're like, man, they can probably benefit from hearing some of the crap that this, dude says, then, tell them about the show. You can hear us on, where are we at? We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. I don't know if it's iTunes. I guess it's iTunes because it's Apple Podcasts.
So it's just the podcast app then. There's a podcast app.
Yeah, so that's iTunes too. iTunes, you get it from. Anyway, I don't know, man.
It's just a podcast app. It's already on your phone.
Yeah, whatever. So if you're an Apple guy, you got that. If you're not, then we're not. One, we're not friends, and two, go to Spotify. So yeah, YouTube. You can find us on YouTube too. YouTube's always fun because you can see what I'm doing right now when you can't normally. Anyway, I love you guys. I didn't mean that. But yeah, who knows? Do we sit here? Do we wear clothes when we talk? Do we not wear clothes? Like, are we painting?
You'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know unless you go on YouTube and you see. Except all of our shorts that we put out are.
Yeah, we're clothed.
Damn it.
Those are photoshopped in.
Yeah.
We're actually naked.
Anyway. So, yeah, you can check us out. Check us out, and if you like our shit, tell your friends about it. So, again, one of these days I'll figure out how to do. Hey, that was 6.5 minutes. I feel like last time it was 8 minutes. Working on those shorter intros. Just shaved off 25%.
I didn't almost fall asleep that time.
Yeah. So anyway, today I want to talk about a couple of different things. I mean, realistically, we talk a lot about things that involve couples. We talk a lot, about like the marriage aspect related into the business, which is kind of the focal point of the show. But today I thought that we'd focus a little bit more on kind of mindset, because that correlates to your business and into your relationship. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So one of the things that we talked about in our team and I, we have a daily meeting every day virtually at 8:05, and we talk about our previous day's training through Cardone University. And one of the things that we were talking about, somebody brought up, one of their takeaways from Grant was the difference between laziness and not knowing what to do. And so I thought that was an interesting topic because, if you know who Grant Cardone is, the guy loosely uses sayings. Some of the sayings that he says, I love the guy. He's very entertaining to watch. But some of the sayings that he says, you have to have a very similar mind to know exactly what he's talking about. Not literal, not all the time literal. I guess that's the best way to put it. So, in other words, he talks about this, about not knowing what to do. People are lazy, and the reason why they're lazy is because they don't know what to do. And so we had a little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a debate about it. And there's doesn't necessarily mean not. It's not the literal definition of I don't know what to do, and then somebody shows them or tells them it's a training issue, and then they are able to do it. It's
like a standstill.
Yeah, it's more or less like they're so unwilling to do it, even though they know what to do, or at least partially know what to do, have an idea of what to do. They're so unwilling to do it that it's so far back in their mind that it's like almost forgotten, right? I mean, not literally, because if they were to stop and think like, how do I get out of this situation? Or how do I accomplish this, or whatever. They probably have an idea, right? But it's that you're just literally not going to do it. It's not an option. So another way that I want to phrase that is, people that give up too easy. So there's two types of people, right? I mean, there's several types of people, but in this part of the conversation, there's two types of individuals, right? So you don't know how to do something, right? So I'm going to start my business, and I need to file for the Corporation Commission, right? I've never done that before. I don't know how to do that. So there's two types of people. There's one who's going to say, man, I don't know how to do that. And then they're going to sit down and go about their day. They're going to watch TV. They're going to, whatever. Or there's the guy who's like, man, I don't know how to do that. And he's going to fucking find out. He's going to get on Google, right? How do I file a Corporation Commission? Because Google knows everything. Or it's gonna start pointing you in the right direction. You're gonna ask people that have done it before, whatever the case is. Make some phone calls, whatever.
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
Fitfo.
So to me, laziness, or the people who, can be defined as lazy who are quote unquote don't know what to do. It's not so much a training issue that they don't know what to do. It's a people issue. They're just unwilling to do what needs to be done or unwilling to find out what needs to be done. And therefore, don't know what to do. So I think that was my takeaway. That's what I think Grant meant by that. But so it was an interesting conversation that we had. And a lot of that stuff comes from your own head, really, for the most part. I mean, that's been the biggest thing for me anyway, is deciding what I put in between my ears, right? Getting rid of the head trash, because I think we can possibly agree that we're all our own worst critic, right? And if not, then whatever. The few of you that are like me, high five. We are our own worst critic. I am definitely my own worst critic. I have people come up to me all the time. Oh man, Eric, you're killing it. Oh man, you're crushing it. Like, you're doing so good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Like, I think I'm doing horribly. Like there's so much. And what it is, I think, is not that I genuinely think that we're doing horrible. One, I'm never satisfied.
So that's what I was going to say. I feel like you can always do better.
And now I think about all the hate from the shorts. So never satisfied. And what I mean by that,
oh God,
is
don't even get me started. The whole freaking political thing.
Yeah, don't. Anyway, so what I mean by that is, and you should never be satisfied either. If you're satisfied at where you are in your life, get off my show. But you should never be satisfied, for real. You should never be satisfied. Like, let me ask you something. Like, so what? You making 150 grand a year, having sex 3 times a week, right? 4 times a week, every day, like whatever, whatever. Doing, traveling, once a week, right? Cool. Like, don't you want to have sex twice a day? Don't you want to travel, for a week? Well, every other week? I don't know. Like, don't you want to make 300 grand, 400 grand, $1 million? Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be satisfied. I'm not saying be ungrateful. There's a big difference there. Be grateful. Be very grateful for where you are, because it's taken a lot to get where you are. But don't ever be satisfied. Don't ever be content and say, ooh, I've made it to the finish line. I'm here.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop growing, as soon as you stop learning, you're instantly in a decline. Whether that's the natural economics, ripping all your money away, or, advancements of new products, technologies, services, whatever that you're not learning about, whatever that looks like, you're in an instant decline. The day that you decide, hey, I'm set, I'm good. So always, be grateful, don't be ungrateful, but never be satisfied. And, so because of that, like, I have goals, we have big goals, and those goals are much further out than where I am today. Where I am today, don't get me wrong, is much further out than where I was, a day ago, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. But don't, where my big goals are so far out, that I have to continue to go to them. So to me, there's that level of unsatisfaction there, because people are like, oh man, you're doing so good. And yeah, sure I am from where I was a year ago, but I got I got such a far road to go that I'm just grinding out. And sometimes, I criticize myself, and I'm like, I should have done that differently. I should have done that better. I could be hitting this faster, whatever. My coaches, I know if they're listening to it right now, they're thinking like, yep, hiring posts for social media, I'm slacking on that, whatever the case is. By the way, we're hiring. So if you want to work for a guy that says fuck a lot. Anyway, it's never be satisfied, always be pushing to better yourself. The biggest thing, I think, that people get in their own way, right? You worry about what other people are going to say, how other people are going to judge you. People are telling you, oh, that can't be done because we've tried that 20 years ago and it'll never work, right? Or, just telling you that you can't do it. You're not smart enough. You're not resilient enough. You're not, whatever enough. And it can't be done. And
haters.
Yeah, like it's not prove them wrong. You know what I mean? But like
That should make you want it even more.
a lot of people, what's common, especially in entrepreneurship, because you're going to have hard times, you're going to have tough days, you're going to have stress, and then that's when you're going to listen to those. You're going to remember those comments that people made about, oh, you're going to fail, oh, you're never going to make it, oh, you're never going to do it, and then you're thinking about it, and you get in your own head, and you start to believe it. You know what I mean?
That quote that Brittany posted, right? Brittany.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought about
My
that.
girl from Master Hands Painting.
Yeah.
The kicking doors one?
Yeah, it made me think of that.
Yeah. So I got this quote. A friend of mine posted it. She owns a painting contracting company, and it's the dopest quote I've ever heard. She posted a picture of like her in this fire ass dress, and the quote said,
Don't mess it up.
I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna, because I think about it literally all the time. It's a wonderful one to live on. It says, "To all the people that close doors on me, watch out because I'm coming back to buy the fucking building." And I love that.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, and one, because she's like 4 feet tall,
Yeah.
like this tiny little thing. But I can picture it. She's a firecracker. I can picture her like rolling up in there, but literally buying the building to the person
Kicking the
that
door
closed
down.
the opportunities and be like, hey, your rent's going up, or get the fuck out,
Yeah.
And but anyway, it's a great quote because for real, don't listen to the crap that people are telling you that says, when they say like, you're not going to make it, you can't do it, right?
Don't
If
waste
you
your time.
honestly don't believe that, if you don't think that you have the skill to do it, then, you wouldn't be entertaining the idea of going into this business for yourself, Same thing like with your relationship. If you're with somebody that's like, oh, it's never going to work. Man, like you guys, nobody knows your relationship better than you guys, right? If you're in some like toxic, fucked up relationship, and like literally everybody your entire life is like, oh, you guys are never going to work, you guys are never going to work, and you also are identifying that you're constantly fighting or there's always issues or whatever, then like, hey, like maybe everybody's right. But if you all are like, if people are just hating, you know what I mean? They hate us because they ain't us, right? What was that movie? Well, no, I don't know. Anyway, one of the, what's the guy? What are the guys? The Franco brothers.
Yeah.
One of the Franco brothers.
James
They hate us because
Franco.
they ain't us.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck. That's a good movie. But yeah, so your head trash. A lot of the reason why you think you can't succeed or possibly even don't succeed at times is because of your own head trash. It's because of what you put, it's because of what's in between your ears, what your thoughts are, what you're thinking, you're giving into this. So when you have people telling you negative comments like you're going to fail, you're not going to make it, and then all of a sudden, you're winning, you're crushing, you're like, you're full of shit, I'm going to do just fine. And then boom, then the inevitable problem, right? Whether financing problem, whether production problem, whether relationship problem, whatever problem you're having in your life, which, people have problems. It's just how do you effectively overcome them, without negatively impacting your life or the things in your life. And those are the times where you're going to start to believe that. You're going to start to second guess yourself. You're going to start to think that. And that's the shit that you can't do. That's the shit that you have to stay true to your beliefs and believe that your product or service or whatever is worth like 10 times more than what you're selling it for, and that it is phenomenal, and that you are the best at what you do, and that you are the best in this relationship or whatever the case is, or grateful for your spouse or whatever that looks like, whatever situation it is, and you have to stay focused on that, because as soon as you start thinking like buying into the negatives and you start thinking about like, oh, maybe I'm going out of business, or maybe it's not going to work or whatever, it literally helps no one. It doesn't, like, thinking like that is not going to solve any problems, period, right? Can we agree on that? Like, it's not going to solve any problems whatsoever, telling yourself that, yep, this is it. Now, maybe it is it. Maybe you did get yourself in a little bit of a pickle that you can't get yourself out of. I don't know. My point is, regardless of the situation, you're never going to solve the problem or don't have a fighting chance at solving the problem if you think like that. Mm-hmm. Like, right? So, and odds are, like, if you're an entrepreneur, failure is not an option, right? like in my situation, right? I have a wife. I have 5 kids. I have a house. Whatever else. So, failure is not an option. Like, it is literally not an option. Nothing is going to happen, or nothing can occur in my life that would cause. Let me rephrase. Let's go back to the beginning. That's going to cause me to quit, right? Because again, I say that we fail, so I should rephrase that to say we fall on our face, right? And then we learn from those mistakes. But failure, like to actually permanently fail, like it's not an option for me. It's not going to happen. I cannot, and the reason why is because I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to give up. Doesn't mean you're not going to have failures. Doesn't mean that you're not going to fall on your face. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have problems, because you will. Just don't ever give up. Don't ever quit. And it's inevitable until you learn from those problems and keep moving forward enough so to where, you're seeing success and you're seeing new limits and stuff like that. So, I would say be very intentional about what you put in between your ears, not just in your own thoughts, but what you watch or what you listen to, right? Don't watch your trash TV or whatever. Your fantasy island, or what are they?
Bachelor in Paradise.
Dress. Yeah. Sorry, Little People, Little Wedding Dress.
Oh, jeez, yeah, don't.
What's it called?
It's called, I don't know.
Say Yes to the Dress.
Say Yes to the Dress. You mixed up 2 shows. Say
Whatever,
Yes to the Dress and Little People.
TLC.
Something, yeah.
Little People,
Big
Little
World.
Wedding Dresses.
Little People, Big World.
Yeah. Copyright protected.
Little Wedding Dresses.
Yeah. Little People, Little Wedding Dress.
Oh my gosh.
New show idea. Fuck. Here it comes. So don't watch your trash TV, right? Don't watch your catfish. Instead, listen to podcasts, right? Obviously this one first, because, I'm telling you to. But literally, there's so many. So what changed for me in my mindset and my belief that I can be better, in my, motivation that I was providing myself, and the shit that I was putting in my ears, the no quit mentality, the never give up mentality. What did it for me? There's not one thing in particular, right? But, if I were going to choose some, right, it's one of the biggest things was my daily routine and my podcast. I haven't watched TV in forever. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll go to the movies with the kids, we'll watch a movie here and there, but I don't watch TV because, and it's not that what's going on out in the world is not important, because it is,
Very important.
Yeah.
And it all matters.
Right. But what it is I can't directly and immediately solve those world problems. And I'm not saying we're laying down and dying and that we're not fixing it. What I'm saying is I can't directly and immediately solve those problems. And by me living in those problems and constantly worrying about the dude that robbed Bashes, or the teens that are stuck on a mountain and have to get airlifted because they don't know how to hike in Arizona, whatever the case is, I'm not saying that those aren't important. What I'm saying is me living in that and me dwelling on that is not going to positively affect my business. In fact, it's going to do the opposite, because I'm going to be consumed. I'm going to be mentally distracted. I'm going to be thinking about negatives.
Makes you worried.
It's such a powerful thing, and it's not an exaggeration. Remove the negatives from your daily intake of what you put into your brain. If you're constantly watching shitty news stories about, wars and gas prices and, the stranded hikers and the stupid motorist laws and all this other shit, right?
It literally consumes your mind.
Like you don't realize that it's happening, but you're filling your mind with negative, and so your output is going to be more negative. Listen to positive things. Listen to self-development things. Read books, right? One of the best books that I've ever read, we read it as an entire team, is from Sean Whalen. It's How to Make Shit Happen. Fucking get that book. If you want that book, email me questions at uncensoredpodcast.com and with your address, and I'll send you a copy of it. The Power of One More from Ed Milet. That's another one we're in the middle of reading as a team right now.
It's amazing.
These there's so many different books. that we can adapt and overcome.
Yeah, and you'll notice your mindset shift. Like,
because you're surrounding yourself.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. You ever go to like a seminar, like a conference, like a rah, like Tony Robbins, like a, shit like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, like a motivational thing. You ever go to one of those and like you leave there feeling like, yeah, I'm going to go crush the fucking world and everything's, and then like a day goes by and you're like, yeah, like I'm going to go crush
like that was
the
fun
state,
yesterday,
and then like a week goes by and then you're back in the daily grind and like you don't apply anything and you forget about it.
You didn't change anything.
You're consuming those words and those actions and those advices daily when you do that, right? It's literally self-development. That's what it's called. That's why it's called it. Podcasts, like a good one for a relationship is also from Sean Whalen, I think, is the Sean and Sax Show. Another overall good one is Real AF from Andy Frisella. A really, really good one, if you're a business owner, is Real Business Owners Podcast. That's a really good one too. It's just called Real Business Owners Podcast. Put on by a couple of guys. They have some guest speakers and stuff like that, and some really cool topics. Tons of them. Ed Milet's podcast. I mean, just literally keyword search self-development. Relationship development, business development. So many different topics that you can search, and just pick a podcast or 2 or 3 or whatever, and just like pop out an episode a day. They're not TV series, right? You don't have to watch last episodes to catch up to understand what I'm talking about this episode. And next episode, I don't even know what the fuck we're gonna talk about. You know what I mean? But it's not a series, so you can listen to an episode of a couple of different shows each day. But fill your head with that. So where you would normally wake up and turn on the news and drink your cup of coffee or whatever and get to work, instead wake up, put in your AirPods or your what do they call it, your headphones or whatever, and listen to a podcast, and
it'll change your day.
Yeah, it literally does. It literally does. I listen to them in the car. I do trainings in the car. I don't listen to. Sometimes I listen to music, but not a lot. It's the majority of what I listen to in the car. Kids fucking hate driving with me.
The kids, I was just about to say, even the kids, like when I play it in the car, they don't look like it, but they're listening. And sometimes the kids will like chime in and say, "Oh, that's a good idea," or "Oh, that's cool." And we'll talk about it for a few minutes. So let it rub off on your kids instead of the news and scary stuff.
Yeah.
Making them worry. Let them listen to some positive stuff, because then they'll grow up with it and it'll change their lives as well.
Yeah. And again, we're not saying that things on the news are not important. Don't hit me in the fucking DMs again. But, whatever.
The future is important, I promise.
Yeah, but if you can't, directly and immediately change it by yourself right now, because don't get me wrong, dude, like, if I can go, like, make a phone call and be like, fucking, yo, Biden.
Lower the gas prices.
Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, or yo, oil company, or yo, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not getting into fucking
of course
politics.
We would do that.
Whoever fucking is responsible for the gas prices, like, hey, let me push this button and let me lower gas prices by $4 a gallon. Like, if I could do that by myself immediately, of course I would. I'm not saying don't worry about it.
All we're saying is don't let the negativity affect you right now.
I can't deal with it.
And
yes, it sucks, but I'm not going to sit here and think about it all day, every day. Instead, I'm going to think about, like, what am I going to do? Carry my fucking ladders to a job site? I got to drive. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it sucks, but so here's the thing, right? We got hit up in the DMs by a lot of people who clearly, aren't our ideal audience, of people saying like, oh, gas prices are affecting my business and I'm going to go out of business because of them and stuff like that.
They do matter.
Like, dude, like, I feel bad if you go out of business for your gas prices and stuff. Like, I get it, dude. Like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Maybe he's got a fleet of like 5,000 trucks, and his gas bill just went from $100,000 to $250,000 a year. But odds are, if you have that kind of fleet, you have that kind of fucking, you're providing a big service anyway, and you're a high ticket, you're a high revenue generating company.
And why are you on Instagram complaining about it?
Yeah, dude. So like, my thought is like, dude, I got, I don't know, like five trucks, right? And I don't know what our gas bill is, because I got to pay it anyway. So, like, if I look at it, is it going to go down? Like, so our gas bill, I don't know. So I think it's like $5,000 a month, right? It used to run around like $3,400 a month or $3,500 a month. So say 35 to $5,000. That's $1,500 a month difference. Like that sucks, dude. $1,500 a month extra for the same shit that I was paying, like getting before. I get it, man. But like I can't make a phone call and I can't change that. So instead, I'm just gonna sell a couple extra fucking jobs to make up for that $1,500.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to close my doors and be like, hey, as a result of gas prices, like,
No, you have to do
we can no longer
what
provide
you
your roofing
need to
services.
do to
Right.
make it work.
Right. So that's my point. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, pay attention to what you're putting between your ears. You know, I'm not saying none of this stuff is going to matter in 5 years. You know, obviously the political situation needs to change. The government situation needs to change. You know, whatever. This isn't a political show. You'll never hear me fucking offer an opinion or talking about it. You know, anything like that. Because you know, I don't like fucking arguing about shit that I cannot immediately.
We don't like this. We don't like the negativity.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't have time for it. I'm not going to tolerate it. So, but for me, yeah, like it's instead of waking up, putting on the news and listening to, you know, the fucking construction project on the I-10 that's going on for 4 years, like, listen to a podcast. That's all I'm saying. Give it a shot, man. Give it a 30-day shot, 30-day challenge. Boom, mic drop. 30-day challenge. Give it a shot, check it out, and see if it changes your life. Just that simple thing of podcasts, right? And then see how if your mindset changes a little bit, if you have that little bit of a shift. So anyway, that's it. That's what I got for you. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, try the podcast thing. Pay attention to what you're putting between your ears. You know, don't, you know, be the type of person that's going to figure out what to do. And this, you know, this is, like I said, involves your business and your relationship. You know, listen to podcasts about your relationship. If you want to be a better father or better mother and like spend time with your kids more, listen to a podcast that speaks to that, right? There's another super good one, you know, by a friend. Her name is Jenna Kutcher.
I was going to bring that up. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
As soon as I said mom, I was like, Jenna Kutcher. She has a phenomenal podcast. She's a Scottsdale resident. She's an Arizona resident. She's a multi-state resident, but
Yeah.
she, phenomenal podcast called The Gold Digger.
Goal.
Goal, not gold, but even the backdrop to it's gold. But phenomenal podcast, and she talks about a whirlwind of whirlwind of topics about like self-development, about you know, empowering women, empowering motherhood, about, you know, business goals, coaching, mindset, motivation.
And she's super real too.
Yeah, super relatable, super real, wonderful person. She's amazing. So check that out. And, you know, give yourself 30 days, listen to a podcast. You know,
Let us know too.
do it 5 days a week, man. Don't,
Yeah.
Like, do it Monday through Friday, like whatever your work schedule is, whatever days you work, do it 5 days a week. You know what I mean? If you're an entrepreneur, you work fucking 7, you know what I mean? But like, whatever, do it 5 days a week. Spend the other 2 times implementing what you learned. And that's the thing. Whenever you listen to these things, like, yeah, you're going to be listening to them. You're going to be going on about your day. You're going to miss some of the stuff. You're going to catch some of the stuff, whatever. But if you hear something in a podcast, it's like a golden nugget for you. We're like, oh, man, that makes sense. Fucking write it down. Type it in your phone. Do whatever.
Put it in your notes.
Yeah, and
your phone.
then implement it. But like after each episode, think, like, what's one thing that they said in that episode? Just one fucking thing that they said in that episode that I correlated with, that I related with so much
That you can start right
that
now.
I can implement in my life now and see if I can see a difference. Check it out. Try it. Okay? Dope. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Again, if you have topics or anything you want to discuss, or want us to discuss rather, hit us up. Send us an email at questions@uncensoredpodcast.com. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Push P.